that. So you have the season's on the line. You have to win every game out. And that's what you put on the field. Okay. What is up, Finn fans? That was a sad showing of football. A just putrid showing of football. At times, the defense actually, I was like, okay. Outside of that, just horrible. Absolutely horrible. Your season is on the line. And that is what you put out on the field. All right, let's break this down. Let's look at some stats. We'll start with probably the worst game that this man has had all season. Tua Tagovailoa, 29 for 40, 196, 1 touchdown, 3 of the worst interceptions my eyes have seen in a very long time for a 60 rating. An absolute horrible game from Tua Tagovailoa. I will talk about him in a second. The run game, of course, non-existent with 52 total rushing yards, 12 for 41 coming from Devon Achane. Receiving wise, Malik Washington, 52 yards, Jonnu, 48, and the touchdown. Tyreek, 2 for 36. We had 2 fumbles, one from Tua. I don't blame Tua for that fumble because the offensive line was just disgusting. Devon Achane had a fumble that we got back. Then you have the defense with 4 sacks, 2 from Chop Robinson. Loved what I saw from Chop, 1 from Sealer and 1 from Anthony Walker Jr. And Sanders missed an extra point, which breaks my heart. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter because we couldn't do anything after we got the touchdown. Then you look at the Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, 18 for 26, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, 106.4. The man threw a completion while getting sacked. Just a ridiculous quarterback. They didn't rush for much, though. They only had 77 yards rushing. Their leading rusher was Dare. I'm not going to butcher his name. 1 carry for 35 yards. I think that was the end around. Joe Mixon, 12 for 23. He got hurt. Joe Mixon, 5 catches for 33 yards, was the leading receiver. Didn't do much on offense. Stroud had a fumble that he lost. They had 3 sacks, 1.5 from Danielle Hunter, 1 from Will Anderson Jr., and a half a sack from Henry Toto. I think that's how you say his name. Stingley Jr. had 2 of the interceptions, and Callan Bullock with the other interception. Looking at the team stats, the Dolphins had more yards, 224 total yards to Houston's 181. 4 turnovers to Houston's 1. 18 first downs to Houston's 12. We had more time of possession, and that is because we gave them the ball a ton on our side of the field. 8 penalties, 64 for us, 7 for 70 for them. Our third down is we were 4 for 13. They were 5 for 13, 2 for 2 on fourth downs. They were for 1 on fourth downs. First and foremost, before I really get into the in-depth stuff, shout out and prayers go out to Grant DeBow, who took a nasty hit to the point where he was on the field for a very long time. Very, very scary situation. They had to take his pads off, his jersey off. They kept his helmet on, obviously, for concussion reasons. He is in critical condition. Not critical. He's in good condition, not critical. He's in good condition, but a very, very scary situation to see on the field there. Just like completely like halted everything. Just it's really scary, but I'm glad to hear he's in good condition there. So let's talk about this game. First off, if Chris Grier survives this season, he has something on Stephen Ross. I wanted Chris Grier fired after the Titans game. I wanted Chris Grier fired after we went 2-6. I am now sitting here after we put out one of the worst offensive performances. He needs to go. And what is the biggest part is the offensive line was just putrid. We were down to our third right tackle. I'm not mad at Patrick Paul playing because Patrick Paul is hopefully the future of the left tackle position. But it was just that. So besides the drive where we Tua threw an interception because he underthrew Tyreek Hill, that drive before that, we had a false start from Liam Eichenberg, who had a just horrid game, just abysmal game. Then we had 76 get beat horribly from Danielle Hunter. And then we had a holding call. It was just like, and then you had Tua throwing the dumbest interceptions, like the interception to Tyreek Hill. Two of the interceptions, we were on their side of the field, so you took 6 points away from us with your interceptions. In the first half alone, Miami had more yards on offense, and the Texans got all of their points, 10 of their points, which happened in the second quarter, off of turnovers. So if we didn't have the fumble or the interception, it would have been 6-3 at halftime. This, now, like I said, the defense at points helped us forcing turnovers and getting 3 and outs and making tackles and stuff like that. They did their job, but overall, I'm putting this game on Tua. I'm putting this game on the offensive line. The whole offense, the head coach, the GM. Like, I'll give the defense a little bit of a slack. You can go sit down. I knew you guys had, a hard time, with the short field and everything with the interceptions. So defense will give you some slack, even though at some points you looked like you were struggling. But hey, defense, you did your thing. Offense, head coach, GM, actually take Jonnu Smith out of the blame. Take Malik Washington out of the blame. Take Aaron Brewer out of the blame. Those 3 guys, you guys can just go hang out. I'm not talking to you. Everyone else, you sucked. You were horrible. Like, holy crap. Again, I will repeat it. The season's on the line. You have to win every game. That's what, if we've lost 21-20, fine, right? We fought, we scored, they got a good defensive front. It is what it is. We were down our tackles, whatever. Our guards are garbage. We trying our best, but it was just an abysmal showing on offense. Just, blech. And the season's over. They're done. I'm not talking playoffs anymore. I'm not talking how they can make the playoffs and this team needs to lose and that team needs to collapse. Because right now, the Houston Texans need the Colts to lose and they clinch the AFC South. It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm not talking playoffs anymore because I said to you guys, they needed to win out. They didn't win out. That's it. Season's over. Now we're at the point now where Mike McDaniel's coaching for his job with these last 3 games, which aren't going to be easy because if your offense shows up like they did today, you got to face the 49ers who have a good defense. You got to face the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, and you got to face the Jets in New Jersey. You know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow? Where our draft pick is going to be if we lose the next 3 and who we need to root to win to get a higher draft pick. That's what I'm going to start talking about because this sucked. Horrible. And it's like, Tua, I come out here and I defend him from stupid narratives, right? And when I mean stupid narratives, it's in the aspect of he can't do things, he never does things, and this, and that. Because you've heard me say before, and if you've been subscribed to my channel and you know how I feel about Tua, there was 2 things I needed to see from him this year. I needed to see him get healthy, stay healthy. That didn't happen. I needed to see him get over the hump at the end of the year. Now, again, I am not going to put I'm not putting all of the blame on him because the offensive line played like trash. But those 3 interceptions were bad. Those 3 interceptions had nothing to do with the offensive line and everything to do with his decision-making, his reading the defense, and the ball placement. So you cannot blame those 3 interceptions on the offensive line. He did not show up when we needed him to. You saw CJ Stroud getting sacked. The man literally had chop on him. He's getting sacked, falling to the ground, and he makes a completion for a first down. Now, that's not to his game, But that's the difference, man. And that's what I talk about when I talk about Tua and what he needs to improve on. It's the end of the year stuff. CJ Stroud does not have a good offensive line. His interior offensive line is bad to the point where they rotated players around, but he made it work. Tua, in a big game, in a big situation, fell on his face and threw 2 costly interceptions that took points off the board. Like, I hate when people blame him for things that aren't his fault, but this is his fault. And do you blame the people who blame him for, things that aren't his fault when he does stuff like this, when he comes out and he plays like this? And to the people who are going to defend Tua about today's game, and no one's perfect. No one is perfect. No quarterback's perfect. But when you need him to step up, it just doesn't happen, man. It just doesn't happen. And that's what happened today. Horrible game. Like I said, you take Jonnu out, you take Malik out, and I take Aaron Brewer out. Offense sucked. Absolutely sucked. Defense, I'll give you a little credit here. 4 sacks. Chop had 2. You had a fumble that you got. You did your thing, man. Offense just scored 12 points. Scored 12 points after scoring 31 7 days ago against the Jets. You kidding me? Speaking of, before I get out of here, I just want to see, did the Jets win? Yeah, the Jets won. Good. That actually helps us. I want the Jets to continue to win so we can get a higher draft pick than them. Now things are going to change. Things are going to flip on their head. All of a sudden, we're going to be rooting for different teams for different things. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk more about this game, changes that need to be made at the coaching staff and the GM, and kind of draft pick stuff because the season's over. Fortunately, when push came to shove and we needed this team to do something to stay in hopes, it's over. And if there is a scenario where the Dolphins can make the playoffs, yeah. If they play like this, they're going to play like this in the playoffs. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Like usual, stay classy and fins up.